to know where the things that you purchase come from. Have you ever thought about this in terms of your clothing? Many people don't think about clothing in the same way as they think about other products that they buy, but it's just as important to know where your clothing comes from. I have always been interested in design, fashion, and marketing, and as I've been looking into these industries for career options, I've noticed a common trend. Sustainability within clothing is on the rise, and it's becoming a very important part of the fashion industry as we know it. Hearing about all these big companies that I'm looking into working for, I run into a common theme of seeing that these companies are not always using the best ethical practices and most sustainable ways of making clothing. So today I'm going to be talking to you about what exactly sustainability in fashion looks like and how you can look for it when you're spending your consumer dollars and why you should care about where you're putting your money into and how that aligns to the things that you believe in our planet. So think of sustainable fashion in the same way as you would think about it with your food. So when you're purchasing an orange, what pesticides are being put onto that fruit before you consume it? What is it doing to your body? And who is the one that produces that and gets it to your hands so you can consume it? It's the same idea with fashion. So we need to be thinking about who makes it. Is it ethical? So the people, if these companies are outsourcing overseas, are the people making it being paid fairly? And are the products that are being put into our clothing good for the environment? And that's not always the case. So there's a concept called fast fashion, which some of you may have heard of. It comes in the form of companies like Urban Outfitters, Forever 21, and H&M. These companies are really under fire right now because we're finding out that they don't always use the most ethical processes. And most oftentimes, clothing from these companies is made cheap, fast, and mass-produced. This isn't always good for the environment, but for college students like us, it's easy for us to walk into those stores, see something we like, and purchase it. And whether we know it or not, we're supporting a cause that we don't all necessarily believe in. Why Sustainable Fashion Matters is an article written by Amanda Coulter, and she explains why we should not only pay attention to the quality of our garments, but also the entire supply chain, production process, and product afterlife of the things we're buying. This means that when we're shopping, we should pay attention to the quality of the things that we buy, even if it means spending more on one thing that will last you many years, rather than buying something disposable that may be polluting the environment later, as well as affecting people in other places that we don't even know about and necessarily see when we see the cheap price tag that we buy on the normal daily basis. Ben Shen's article, The Importance of Sustainable Fashion Supply Chain, highlights how brands like Forever 21 and H&M participate in fast fashion and how that's actually contributing to the diminishment of our environment. And these come in the forms of deforestation, water contamination and shortages, and big businesses putting local farms and families out of jobs in countries where our products are created. So it's important that when we're giving our money and support to these companies, we know where our products are coming from and who's being affected by the products that we're purchasing. Large companies are also often able to get away with these things because, like I said earlier, we're all on a tight budget and we want to buy things for cheap. So when you're buying things, you don't always have to spend more money to support sustainability. You can ask yourself a series of questions when purchasing clothing. Is this garment made to last? So are you going to wear it a few times and then dispose of it, or can you consistently get use out of it as years roll by? How much is being wasted in the production of this fabric? So the actual fabric that your clothes are being made out of, how much waste is going into the production of that? And these are things that you can find on company websites. So everybody has access to Google, and everybody can look up the companies that they're buying products from and see what the companies are doing to make their clothes. So a basic rule of thumb that I learned about during my research is if the company that you're buying things from doesn't come out and say we're a sustainable, ethical company and give you examples of where all their products are coming from, they probably aren't. So if they're not telling you that they're sustainable, then they aren't. So companies, it is shown, do not disclose all the information about their products that they should to you. And in this graph, I'll show you. So you can see the brands up here, and this is how much we know about where their products come from. So as you can see, some big brands like Chanel, Prada, Michael Kors that you guys might all be purchasers or want to purchase things from, they don't give us the information that they should because they don't have to. Nobody's asking these companies to disclose this information. They just see the price tag and they trust it immediately. However, companies like H&M, Levi's, and other companies that I talked about being fast fashion companies are being questioned more. Therefore, they have to provide more information about the sourcing of their products. So, my point being with this is it's important to, as consumers, to ask questions about where things are coming from, because the companies that don't have to answer to anybody, they just don't answer. They won't tell you if you don't ask. So it's important to be looking into this and with your consumer dollars, using that power that you have as a consumer towards something that's important. Okay, so I'm going to move into a little bit of a basic way that you can determine whether or not your products are sustainable or not, and this is just simply in the materials. So materials such as cotton, hemp, and linen are more sustainable than other materials such as polyester, nylon, and spandex. Polyester, nylon, and spandex contain things called microplastics, which not only is bad for the environment, but it's actually bad for you as a consumer. So every time you wash that synthetic athletic material that we all love to wear and it's super cheap, every time you wash that, you put it in the dryer, little layers and particles of plastic come off of that fabric, and it can either end up in the ocean, in the air, or even be consumed directly into your body. So it's important to watch out for your health and the environment's health when you're consuming certain materials. So just as a general rule of thumb, you can always look at the tag, and it has all the materials used right on the tag, and you can kind of use that as a rule of thumb. So spending a little bit extra on a quality item versus a million small, not quality items is always a good rule of thumb. Looking for certain materials and also using your consumer dollars as a vote. So I want you guys to think about your money as a vote for what you think is right. So we can all get on our computers, we can all Google these companies, we can all look at the facts, and if the facts aren't there, then you have to assume that something is wrong. So I want everybody to think of their money as your vote for what's right before you purchase your next article of clothing. Thank you.